Hi, yeah, so I'm Phil Crombie, and I'm the bass player for Bad Matrix, and I was also the engineer, producer, and I mastered the Bad Matrix album. So yeah, I was fully involved at all stages. I've known Rob for about 15 years through, started off depping for a covers band called Burn, and we soon became good friends and ended up forming a tribute band to Deep Purple, Deeper Purple, together about 14, maybe 15 years ago as well. That was, so I must have known it for longer than that. Anyway, so yeah, he said that he had these demos from an old band he'd been involved with. It was called Bad Attitude, and asked if I'd help bring the music to life. And he sent me the old demo versions of these songs, which were pretty bad quality actually, really bad, like off old cassettes. So I started by basically uploading them onto my computer, onto Cubase. I'm just using a basic version of Cubase. And I would make them work with a click track basically. So for a few tracks I made the mistake of trying to actually attribute the tempo to the track, but after that I realised it was simpler to just like set a tempo and then stretch and squash the music so that it fitted into the the bars were proper bars, and that we could actually use a click track for the drummer and so on, so that we could all record it using the original demo as a guide. So that was the first quite big painful job really, is getting all those old demos and making them consistent with their timing. So once I'd done that, then I found out actually that the drummer preferred to hear the bass line first. So I actually recorded a rough bass line for what I thought was a good bass line for the song. The original bass lines weren't very imaginative. I think it was Rob actually playing bass on the originals. So no, I did the bass lines and I just did my own thing, what felt right. Then I'd send them off to the drummer, Paul, and he did an amazing job actually. His drumming was bang on, really good, great drumming. He'd send me the files back, and then I would re-record the bass so that it was tight with the drums. So that's how we started. And then after that I'd send the files to Rob. I'd do a rough mix of just the bass and the drums, and Rob would start recording the guitars, which was a long process. He'd normally do like 4 rhythm guitar tracks, so we get that big guitar sound, and then there'd be all sorts of overdubs, guitar solos and all the rest of it, which would be built up over time, you know. And I must admit, with some of the tracks I felt that they weren't that compact. Some of the songs were a bit, they'd go on for a bit, so I'd chop them down and send them back to Rob and say, look, we don't need these 2 bars here, or we don't need these 4 bars there. And generally Rob would agree, okay, give me another mix, and we'll make it shorter and so on. So I did. And then the music would generally then get sent. I'd do a mix with guitar, bass and drums, and then I'd send it over to New York for Paul Morris to do his keyboards. And I always really look forward to hearing the music when Paul had got hold of it, because the guy's very creative, really respect him as a musician, and he did some fantastic things, sometimes well over the top. Sometimes he'd provide me with like 8 different keyboard tracks, and I would choose the best bits, and some of it got binned, or some little bits were just cut and paste, and we built the track up like that. But Paul's input was invaluable, and if you listen to it, some of those keyboard runs he does are amazing. He doesn't send any MIDI stuff, it's all audio. He's playing the keyboards in real time, so it's got feeling. Really good. And then finally, all of that would get sent to the vocalist, and again he would put his own spin on it, and it was always really impressive. You know, come back. I mean, I think there were. So on here, there's like, this is Holding My Heart. So the yellow are the vocals. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 vocal tracks for one song. So he did his own backing vocals and built up a choir basically, and it sounded really good. So we did that for all of the songs, which took several months, bit by bit, you know, with people having other commitments and so on, but we put it all together. And then the really painful bit came, was the getting a decent mix and producing it. I would work for hours and hours and hours, different drum sounds, different EQ, send it off to Rob. Rob would listen to it at home, he'd come back, no, you know. Rob listens to it on really big speakers at home, and I've only got these small JBLs and headphones and so on to listen here, and so there'd be some sort of frequencies that would really jump out of a big speaker that weren't jumping out here. So he'd say, no, you know, this note's booming out too much or whatever. So I'd adjust it, and anyway, at the end of it, we would always come to a happy compromise and agreement, and that's why Rob's down as the executive producer, because he certainly had a lot of input on it, on the overall sound. Sometimes it was just a sanity check for me, because I'd be here listening to the same song for hours and hours, and sometimes lose my way. Your ears get tired. And then came the mastering. So I haven't got any experience at mastering, to be honest. I'm a complete amateur. Tried my best, sent it off to a friend who is a professional recording genius, Gwyn Matthias, and he advised me to buy some new software, which I did. A very simple mastering plugin called Masterplan, and he gave me a bit of feedback on the mixes that I sent him and the mastering, how many luffs we should be looking at and all that sort of stuff, and I just did my best, and the feedback from the album has been great, you know, and Gwen helped with the actual producing the master file that goes off to the CD manufacturers, so that was very helpful of him, and we really appreciated his input and help. And everybody that's heard the album has kind of liked it, so even though I would argue that I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to producing and mastering, I think it came out kind of 80s rock, but it's so instantly likable. That's the great thing I think about it. For me, I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and I got it. A friend played me Highway to Hell, very early days, and I became a massive AC/DC fan, and I was into Sabbath and Zeppelin, and I went to see a lot of the bands that were around that time, the new wave of British heavy metal, including like Def Leppard, you know, when it was £3 to go and see them, and it was, the drummer had 2 arms. All those sorts of bands, you know, I grew up with, and so I love guitar-based rock, and we've got, you know, great guitar sound, I think, on this album, helped by, you know, we've got 4 guitar tracks. I mean, just this one song here, Holding My Heart, not even a heavy song. You know, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 7 or 8 guitar tracks, and it just makes it sound big, and it's the sound that I love, really. I think maybe the stuff that I love has rubbed off on the overall sound, and it is that sort of 80s rock feel. So that's how I describe the music. So there was one song, Kiss of Life, which didn't really work out to start with. We tried doing it on electric guitar, and it sounded wrong, you know. And in the end, I suggested to Rob, look, let's not chuck this song away. Let me do acoustic. So I did an acoustic rhythm on it, and then suddenly it was like, yeah, you know what, this could work. And Paul did some great keyboards for it, and yeah, it worked out. So I did end up actually playing guitar on one of the songs, which was that, just strumming away on an acoustic, but great fun. What's my favourite song? I think my favourite song has to be Taking It Out on Me. And that was really because of what Paul did with the keyboards for me. I'd just been to see the Killers at the Emirates Stadium, and I'm not a big Killers fan, but I went along, and it's got that real drive to it. I just think that Taking It On Me is the most modern kind of song on there. It's a great driving song. In fact, all of the songs are great driving songs, to be honest, but that one in particular sticks out. What would I redo if we were doing it again? I don't think I would really. I'm very pleased with the way it came out. In an ideal world, we'd be in a studio together, experimenting and getting to know each other, and it obviously helps with, especially as a bass player, drums and bass. It's always great to sort of feed off the drummer. But we managed. There's, you know, and in this day and age, that starts getting very expensive if you're paying to be in a studio. Whereas we've done it on a budget, you know, a pretty small budget, as it happens. So I just hope that people enjoy it. There's a bit of nostalgia there, but you know, we need bands like this in the world, playing rock and roll really, with good musicians, a chance to show off here and there, and the songs are really easy on the ear, I think. Great driving music. Good old heavy rock without being over the top. That's how I'd describe it. Cheers.